Hey there, folks. So, last episode, we started off the process of working on our actual equipment system. One thing I realized right after I hit the stop recording button is I have this in the wrong spot. So, for anyone who's not overly familiar with C++ and the private, protected, and public definitions, that would be these three here. What these are is private means nothing outside of the equipable item base class can do anything with these. What protected means is this class or any child classes that's derived class. So that's going to be things like our clothing or our weapon have access to this functionality. And then public is every class under the sun can access this information. And I realized these two really should be in protected, not in private. So I'm going to move those down in protected because we don't want to have to, I'm going to leave that in there for consistency, to worry about that in our other classes. Like we want, if it's a clothing item, we want to be able to potentially make some changes to the slot type, if it's, or the character mesh, things like that. And that'll be for things like, say, you want to add visible degradation to your equipment. So like your shirt gets ripped and you need to change this character mesh, things like that. So sorry, just taking a quick drink there. So anyways, as I mentioned last episode, we are going to do some additional work here. What we're going to be doing is expanding our character class to account for these. So I'm going to close out the equipable item base for now. And we're going to go into our public base class, and this is our character base. Now I understand this is going to be used for everything. It's going to be our bears, our deers, our wolves, our humans, or humanoid, I'll rephrase that. But I don't want to make that distinction to that extent that there is, it's NPC character, that we have character and then we have humanoid character, because we can't, and the whole reason, as I mentioned in last episode, you can't have a multi-parent inheritance on a single class with Unreal Engine. It is a single chain. I personally really dislike that, but it's how Epic has written it. So I had to work around how I wanted to have multi-inheritance versus single inheritance. Or working around the fact I can't have multiple inheritance. So with that, we're going to be doing everything on our character. Now, again, I understand this is not the most efficient. However, for my purposes, unless it proves a problem, which if it does, we'll be addressing it later in the series, I'm just going to do all of this on a character class. Anyways, beating a dead horse there. So we want to go class, use skeletal mesh. Actually, no, it's exposed through character. So I'm going to go into U properties. Go in, add this in here. Actually, I'm going to create a region for this. So pound octafor or hashtag, whatever you know it as, pragma region trying to think, equipment skeletons, and then pragma end region. Okay, so, and the whole reason for this is, you'll see once I get this done, it's going to do tooltip, get rid of the tooltip on these, and I'm going to give them a category as well, actually. Category equipment. So Sorry, I was just fixing that U property. My brain shut off. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. So what we want here is use skeletal mesh component pointer. Now we're going to have to want, well, we're not going to have, we're going to want to add something for, I'm going to say everything but weapon, because weapon is going to be a little different. So head, torso, not toros. Head, torso, hands, leg, feet, backpack. Hat mesh. Use skeletal, and actually I'm going to change my copy here to this for ease. Hat mesh, torso mesh, no, yes, torso mesh, leg mesh. What else did we have in there? Got you, got you, got you. So we have hands, feet, and backpack. Hand mesh, feet mesh, backpack mesh. Okay, so now we've got all of those in here. Let me just space these out a little bit. Quickly explain the pragma region. Literally, it just allows you to collapse this and hide it, because we're not worried about it. Everything's still there, nothing's been removed, it's just set up like that so you can collapse things, and it helps keep code organized and less messy, and you can do away with things you're never going to worry about. Alright, so, well, now we've done that, we need to actually go through and set everything up for those to be valid objects. So what we're going to do is, in our private section, base class character, or TF character in this case, obviously your project character. In the constructor, we're going to want to add a few more things in here. So what I'm going to do quickly, actually I'm going to just grab that. It shouldn't throw a syntax error, even though it does nothing. Quickly just copy these over so I'm not bouncing back and forth for each and every one, because there's quite a few things we need to do with these. So and backpack mesh. Apparently I have show white space on. Alright, so copy those over. So what we want to do here, we're going to start with our hat mesh. So obviously it equals create default sub-object, use skeletal mesh component, text, and I'm going to leave it as this because I'm going to quickly copy this down to the other ones we've just added. And then I'm going to put head where, so it's visible. It makes more sense in the editor. Head where mesh. Torso where mesh. And again, like I said last episode, this list is not expansive or exhaustive, sorry. I probably am going to be expanding this further later on in the series, but leg where mesh. Hand where, oh, don't need the space at the start. Foot where mesh. Backpack mesh. Okay, so now we've created those. Obviously, they're going to be in the editor when you look at the blueprint, but they're going to be floating off in their own place. So what we want to do is hat mesh, setup, attachment, get mesh. And what this is it's getting that base skeletal mesh, and it's saying, okay, you're a child of. And I'm going to do this for all of them. Torso mesh, leg mesh, hand mesh, feet mesh, not back. Well, back is what I spelt it as. Back mesh. I'm going to fix that quickly. Backpack. Reminds me of my daughter and her current trend of saying big back. Very dislike that, but anyways, so now this is all well and good. It attaches the mesh, these new meshes, to the main skeletal mesh, but they don't have a linked animation. So the other thing we're going to want to do here, and actually we're using git mesh a lot, so I'm going to go use skeletal mesh pointer parent equals git mesh, and I'm doing this just for the sake to explain. That's component, sorry, mesh component. To explain why I'm doing this is we have one function execution and a data assignment, and then here we have multiple function executions. So what I'm going to do, that is right, it's just not highlighting in IntelliSense, so I'm going to copy that and do this. Now honestly, it's not a huge process, like processing power consumption, but at the same time, calling an identical function to get the same object over and over and over again, just do this. Create a local variable, do it once, use that as a reference. But anyways, so as I was saying, they are attached within the hierarchy of the character, but they're not actually linked for the purpose of animation. So what we want to do here is go hat mesh set lead pose component, or leader pose component, and this is going to be parent. So what set leader pose component does is it basically says any bone that will say the hat mesh shares that is identical to the mesh of this follow the exact same animations as the parent bone. So alright, so we're going to copy that, and we're going to just do that for the rest of these. And backpack mesh. Okay, so we have that all set up. Now, obviously, these are null pointers. There's no actual mesh, but we're going to do a quick build here, hop into the editor, and then I'm going to show you a asset pack I'm going to be using just for the purposes of testing this out as well. So, actually, while this builds, because that's quite a bit, let's look at that right now. I was looking at animations for one of the side projects I'm working on. Character. Where is it? Customized post-apocalyptic characters. There we go. Sorry, it was being slow. I'm not sure on Fab. It's a bit of a weird one, but so in here, anyways, we have what is a modular mesh that we could use for this setup. So you can see here we have torsos, we have backpacks. If this one wants to load, apparently it doesn't want to load. But we have multiple heads, leg, feet, and a few other accessories. So I'm going to be adding that into the project as part of this, but I'm going to get rid of that for now. Okay, so you can see our build succeeded. So we're going to locally launch the editor, and we're going to take a look to see how these skeletal meshes we've had in here are added in, and make sure all of this actually works. So, and apparently I haven't launched the editor. No, I haven't done a code commit since. Well, this is potentially going to take a little bit of time to load up, so I'm going to pause the video, And actually, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to add that asset pack in, and then I will be back once we have the asset pack added in and we're in the editor. All right, so we are back in the editor. We've got that asset pack added in. And just quickly to show you some of the various parts that are assigned to that, I just filter this to skeleton mesh. You can see there's backpacks, torsos, actually eyes, glasses. And this gives you an idea of what sort of parts you can add. Actually, with this mess, we need to add eyes, but I'm not worried about that. So yeah, we've got backpacks, torsos, head, mask, teeth. Yeah, I'm going to have to expand that if I want to use these assets, but pants, shoes, so everything we need there. But so what we're going to do, though, we're going to take a quick look at our player character, which is third person. Sorry, there we go. Third person, blueprints, and BP third person, because this is what we're using for now, even though it's not third person anymore. It's first person with option of third person. But okay, come on, load up the asset. Why are you being a pain? All right, so here you can see we have, pull this over and scroll down a bit. We have our hat mesh, leg mesh, torso mesh, backpack, feet, hands. If we go to our viewport, you can see these are all right now just parented with nothing. So let's see if we can actually get this to work. Our anim blueprint's not going to work because we're changing our skeleton. I'm going to have to work on some animations as well. Might be what next episode is retargeting animations. I'm not overly good at that, but so parts. Actually, let's see what the full skeleton. Yeah, there's no just body, so parts. So what we're going to do for this, for everyone's reference, so I'm going to just have this open, and we're going to just assign some components to that. So what we're going to do for our main mesh, that is just going to be our head. So if we add that, you can see it's now there. It is animating, but the animation is screwed up. So I'm going to just do that. Yeah, there you go. You can see it's a little better now for at least this part. So we've got our hand mesh. I know there's some gloves in there. Where are they? Do they mount install? Oh no, there they are, hands. So we add a hand mesh, then our foot mesh. So I'm going to add just adding the first of each item in here. Backpack mesh. I'm going to add that one. It's a little more YouTube appropriate for the backpack mesh. It's not a torso. Torso mesh. And the leg mesh is going to be this one. And then what's our last one? Hat mesh. What hat should I give him? I'll give him just the hat. Okay, so you can see from here that all those components are, all the skeletal mesh actors are connected. They're all in the right place for the skeleton. Now, obviously, there's some animation issues, so let's see if there is animations in this. No, there isn't. Trying to think. Let's see. I'm going to try retargeting quickly. Retarget animations. Okay, so that's that. Let's go find you. Actually, we're going to use this one. Find that. Okay, so this is the retarget window. I'm not overly experienced with this. Let's just go idle. Actually, no. So we want mm_. We want idle, jump, fall loop, land, run forward, T-pose, walk forward, and walk in place. So export animations, and then that is our mega post apocalyptic character, and I'm going to go new folder, retarget anims, and we're going to export those and export. And hopefully this does what I want it to do. I've had some issues with animations in the past, so let's use an anim asset, and we're going to put it on idle. All right, so this shows you exactly what I wanted to. Can I move you? Yeah. So in here you can see all of the assets are correctly posed and following that animation. So obviously, as I mentioned, we need to go through and add some more, because if you go up here, you can see he has no eyes. But for this character, it's not a concern, because this is the player character. He's not going to see eyes. But potentially, if you want to render your character on, say, your inventory screen, you'd want to be able to see things like that. So start time, end time. So I'm trying to remember what I... Oh, that is for how long it took to save. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I just seen those. But so yeah, that is what we have been able to achieve using... Come on, Visual Studio, open up. That's what all of this does. So that is these two functions we're calling for the skeletal mesh. The setup attachment is we are saying you are a child of this parent mesh. And then the set leader pose component is what is telling that mesh to follow the animation of its parent for any bone that is identical. So those are also exposed to blueprints. So if you wanted to do this in Blueprint as well, so you would grab your hand mesh, your parent mesh, and then off your child, you'd go set leader and set leader pose component. And then that's it there. I'm not going to connect this because I don't want to cause some weird cyclical code. But that was how you would do this in Blueprints as well. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode just because I wanted to get this portion of things figured out, getting the animation blueprint, the animations working for everything. Do I zero this out and it fixes it? Yeah. So with that, though, this is where I'm going to end this episode off. It's around my normal length, but next episode we're going to expand things further because we're going to obviously need to add some functionality to put equipment on, and then also expand on obviously our clothing class, things like that. So as always, though, thank you for watching, folks. If there's any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next episode.